Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malkuto, Leolam Va'ed, V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha, V'kol avavcha, V'kol nafshecha, V'kol meotecha, V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, Asher anoki mitzavcha, Hayom al levavecha, V'shinatam levanecha, V'dibarta bam, V'shivtecha b'veitecha, V'v'lechtecha b'derech, Uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha, Uv'kshartam lehot al yadecha, V'yunetotafot b'neinecha, U'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha, Lema'at tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, V'tem kedoshim le'Eloheikem, Ani Adonai Eloheikem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, le'olachem le'Elohim, Ani Adonai Eloheikem.
And we rise for the tefillah, page 470.
470. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chassadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zoker Kazdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo V'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Metim, Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, Morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayei Metim Berakamim Rabbim, Somek Noflim Berofei Kolim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim
Emunato
Lishenei Yafad, Mikamo Kahaba Gevurot, Umidom Melat, Melech Memit,
Umechaye
Umatzmiak Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atalakayot Metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye Ametim. We continue page 476. Nekadesh et Shimcha b'olam keshem shemagdishim oto b'shemei marom. Kakatu ayad neviyecha v'karazeh zeh v'yamar. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevahot, Melech kol haaretz kevodo. Adir Adonenu Adonai Adonenu, Mahadir Shimcha b'kol haaretz. Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshiachenu, vehu Yashmi'enu, Berakamav Leinei Kokai Ani Adonai Elohechem Yimlok Adonai Leolam Elohai Yixion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador Nagi God Leka Ulenetzak Netzakim Kedushatcha Nagdish Veshivka Eloheinu Mipino Lo Yamush Leolam Vaed Baruch Atah Adonai Hahel HaKadosh.
We continue on 478.
Ata v'kartanu mikol hamim Ahavta otanu v'ratzita banu V'romamtanu mikol halashonot V'kiddushtanu b'mitzvotecha V'kervotenu malkeinu la'avodatecha V'shimcha gadol v'hakadosh Aleinu karata V'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'yahava Moadim l'simcha Chagim uzmanim l'sason Et yom Hashmini chag ha'atzeret hazeh Zman simchatenu mikra kodesh Zeker letziat Mitzrayim.
Now on page 479, I'm going to read a little bit in the Hebrew, and then we're going to do a little in the English. This is about the Shalosh Regalim, the three festivals. Shalosh Regalim tachog li b'shana, et chag hamatzot tishmor, shivat yamim tochal matzot, kasher tziviticha lemoed chodesh ha'aviv, kivo yatzata mimitzrayim, v'lo yera'u fanai rekam. V'chag hakatzir bikore ma'asecha, asher tisra b'sadeh, v'chag ha'asif b'tzeit hashana, v'asfecha et ma'asecha min hasadeh. At the top of 479, let's read together. 3 times a year you shall hold a festival for me. You shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, eating unleavened bread for 7 days, as I have commanded you. At the end of the month of Aviv, for it is when you went forth from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty-handed. And the feast of the harvest of the first fruit of your work, and what you sow in the field, and the feast of ingathering at the end of the year when you gather the results of your work from the field. We continue on 480.
Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu ya'aleh v'yavo v'yizacher zikronenu v'zikron kol amcha beit Yisrael lefanecha letova ulechen ulechesed ulerachamim ulechayim u'shalom ביום השמיני חג עצרת הזה, זכרנו אדוני אלוהינו, בוא לטובה.
אמן.
ופקדנו בוא לברכה.
אמן.
הושיענו בוא לקיים.
Now in 482, we read together, 482 at the bottom of the page, bestow upon us the blessing
of your holy festivals, and may we so celebrate them as to be worthy of your blessing.
Our God and God of our ancestors, make us holy with your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our way of life. May our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladness with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. Let your holy festivals remain our heritage, and let us celebrate them with joy, so that all Israel, hallowing your name, may have cause to rejoice. We praise you, Adonai, who sanctifies the house of Israel and the festivals. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim. We continue on page 485. Let's do the last paragraph in English together. 485. And when the heart
is filled with song and with the longing for Eretz Israel, a great light goes forth from the holiness of the land upon it. And from the song of the grass comes the melody of the heart. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose presence returns to Zion. Baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shechinato l'Tzion. We continue at the top of page 87. Once more together. 487. Our ancestors acclaimed the God whose handiwork they read in the mysterious heavens above and in the varied scene of earth below, in the orderly march of days and nights, of seasons and years, and in the checkered fate of humankind. Lift up your eyes, look up. Who made these stars? Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha l'cha na'el lehodot. We continue with Sim Shalom. That can be found on 490. Sim Shalom tova uvraka, chen v'chesed v'rakamim, aleinu, aleinu, v'yako Yisrael amecha. Sim Shalom tova uvraka, chen v'chesed v'rakamim, aleinu, aleinu, v'yako Yisrael amecha. Sim Shalom tova uvraka, chen v'chesed v'rakamim, aleinu, aleinu, v'yako Yisrael, v'yako Yisrael amecha. Sim Shalom tova uvraka, chen v'chesed v'rakamim, aleinu, aleinu, v'yako Yisrael, v'yako Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, v'vorek Adonai Yisrael, Shalom.
And we continue with our own private prayers and meditations. We take a deep breath and release it.
Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'yaka Yisrael, ve'yimru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yako Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom,
Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen.
Morris, I love your spirit. I love your joyous spirit. He's wonderful. Now we're going to turn to Seder Kriyat Torah. We're going to do a little bit of a Reshit this morning.
Okay.
And we rise on page 494.
Ein kmo k'Elohim Adonai v'ein k'masecha malkutecha malkut kol olamim u'memshaltecha b'kol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam v'ed.
Adonai Oz
Le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarek, et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim, etiva v'rtzoncha, et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki v'cha levad bataknu, melech eram v'nisa, Adon olamim, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, Udvar Adonai Mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato. Adonai, Adonai, El Rakum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Kesed V'Yemet, Notzer Kesed L'Halafim, Notzer Avon V'Fesha, V'Kata V'Nakei, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadolul Adonai Iti, Uneram Shemo, Yaktav, Lecha Adonai, Hagedula, V'Hagivura, V'Hatiferet, V'Hanetzach V'Hahod, Ki kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Lecha Adonai, Hamamlacha, V'Hamidnaseh, Lecha Rosh, Romemu,
Ramamu,
Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, V'hishtakavu, V'hishtakavu, Lehar Kadsho, Ki Kadosh, Adonai Eloheinu.
Okay. So let's all bless the Torah this morning, okay?
Beautiful.
How about we all bless the Torah?
Baruch.
Okay, ready? So, Ya'amdu kehilat Beit El.
There you go.
Okay.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamorak.
Baruch Adonai mevarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorak leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten Torah.
Amen. Well, why don't you chant it? You do it so well.
Well, I got the first day down.
You got the first day.
Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'haaretz hayita tohu v'bohu ve'choshech apnei tehom ve'ruach Elohim merakefet apnei hamayim v'yomer Elohim yehi or v'yehi or v'yar Elohim et haor ki tov v'yavdel Elohim bein haor u'bein hachoshech v'yikra Elohim la'or yom v'la'choshech kara layla v'yerev v'yehi boker yom echad Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch
Atah Adonai.
noten haTorah. Not easy.
Not
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe.
Al shlosha devarim.
Al shlosh.
No, before. Al shlosha devarim. Al shlosha. Shlosha. Let go here. Al shlo devarim haolam. Haolam omed. Al haTorah.
Got it?
No. No, it's got to go down. Al haTorah. Ve'al ha'avodah. Ve'al gemilut chasadim.
There you go. There you go.
Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah
Ve'al gemilut.
chasadim.
This is hard work.
Yeah, whoop, and this one, these rollers have got to be fixed on this Torah.
Yeah.
They need to be glued
Yeah.
stronger. We got to, okay.
Well, we fixed the Torahs. Now we got to fix the rollers.
Yeah, the Torahs are all kosher.
Yep.
We spent a lot of money getting the actual scrolls, but the rollers, it's another thing. That's a good question. Would you use, that is a great question. Because a lot of the glues in the old days, sit down everybody.
Well,
a lot of the glues in the old days were made from horse, weren't they? Like hooves and stuff?
For sure.
You know, that is a good question.
We got to ask the sofer.
We got to ask the sofer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. That is an interesting question.
Well,
I remember I was working before I went to rabbinical school, I was assisting a conservative rabbi in the Washington, D.C. area. I just worked with him for a couple of years. Nice congregation. And he was Orthodox trained. And I remember I was on vacation, and I found a mother-of-pearl ring that I really liked. And wasn't sure if I should wear it, you know? It's not kosher. Pearl, it's an oyster, right? And I asked him, I said, Rabbi Porath, he said, you're not eating it. Of course it's okay. It's not, that would be perfectly fine. So, something that's not kosher to eat, can it be utilized in a way that, as long as you're not eating it? He seemed to be absolutely fine with it. So I started wearing my little mother of pearl.
Well, you just answered our question.
So I think, I get based on that.
Yeah.
I would think he'd probably say it was okay. Yeah, but
Elmer's glue will do.
no, but I would still feel a little uncomfortable. If I had the choice, if Elmer's was made from something vegan, right, and I had another one was horse, I would probably go for the vegan, just to be on the safe side,
you. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. We call that sayag la Torah. Sayag is an ancient Hebrew word for a fence around the Torah. A sayag la Torah. It might be okay. It might be acceptable, but it's a little questionable.
A little dicey.
So I'll make a little, I'll be a little more strict about it. Okay, we are now going to continue with our Yizkor service, and that can be found. You have your little books? Okay, good. We're going to start with page 7. Adonai ma'adam v'tedayehu bein enosh v'techashvecho adam lehevel dama yamav ketzel over. We read together in the English, Adonai, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath. Our days are like a passing shadow. We come and go like grass, which in the morning shoots up, renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to turn to dust, saying, Return, O mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood whither we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us.
Mark the wholehearted, and behold the upright. They shall have peace.
We continue on page 8. Again, in the English, at the top of the page. The one who dwells in the shelter of the Most High, who abides under the protection of the Almighty, will say to the Eternal One, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Shaviti Adonai lenegdi tamid, ki mimini ba'alamot. Lachen samach libi v'yagel kevodi, af besari yishkon lavetach. Once more in the English, I have set the Eternal One always before me. Because God is at my right hand, I shall not fall. Therefore my heart is glad and my soul rejoices. My flesh also dwells in safety. We continue at the bottom of the page. Our days are like grass. We flourish like a flower of the field. For the wind passes over it, and it is gone, and its place knows it no more. But the loving kindness of the Eternal One from everlasting to everlasting upon those who revere God. There's a line in here that really spooks me. It's like a ghost to me. It says, and it is gone, and its place knows it no more. I go back to my old neighborhood where I grew up, and so many people from my parents' generation, they're all gone now. And even some people, even some friends of my age are gone, And I go, doesn't this place, here's the playground we played in. Does it not know who I am? Does it not know who all those people were that we were so intent playing marbles at recess in that playground? Do you not know the beach we played on? Don't you know the place? Don't you recognize? It's not just the people are gone. Do I mean nothing to this place? I know that tree. That tree was from when I was a kid. Doesn't it know me? No. And it spooks me, I go, where did they all go? Yeah. Okay. Psalm 23, the cantor will lead us in that. Okay. Page 9.
Adonai rohi lo exar binot sheyar bitzeini Amei menuchat yenahaleini nafshi shovev yancheni v'maglei tzedek leman shmo gam ki elech begeit salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi shivtecha umishanteka hema yenakamuni taharok lefanai shulchan neged sorirai dishanta b'shemen roshi kosi revaya haktov b'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai v'shavti b'beit Adonai lehorek yamim.
We continue together in the English. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me.
Thy rod
and thy staff, they comfort me.
Thou preparest a table before me
in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Page 10, Psalm 121.
Esainai eleharim me'ayin yavo ezri. Esainai eleharim me'ayin yavo ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai ose shamayim ba'aretz. Ezri me'im Adonai ose shamayim ba'aretz. Esainai eleharim me'ayin yavo ezri. Esainai eleharim me'ayin yavo ezri.
Together we read in the English, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help will come from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not allow your foot to slip. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Eternal is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. God will protect your being. The Lord will guard you coming and going from this time forth and forever. Let's continue on page 11 together. This is reflections before Yiskar. Death for us is a mixture of moods. Fear of abandonment, separation, being left alone. Brooding anger, fists shaken against the sky. Voices shouted against the grave. Regrets over things that could have been, that should have been, but that were not. Bitter, sweet nostalgia. Ugly scenes transmuted into memories of mere mischief. Sharp quarrels softened by the passing of time. Words of stone smoothed by perspective. tears, salt of self-pity, brine of resentment. The remembrance of that gray day, of a tear in the cloth, of a handful of earth. And now this moment when together we cling to courage. We who have the right to mourn for others and for ourselves. It is the dignity of the soul to hold on to the past. It is the dignity of the spirit to take hold of the future, to love again and to forgive others and ourselves, to rise from grief, to sew a torn garment, to live, to love, even to laugh again, and at the same time to remember always, to remember always. We continue with the Yiskor. This is either the 80th or the 81st anniversary this week of Babi Yar. It was in late September. I'm not sure if it was 1940 or 1941. I think it was 1940. 34,000 people were rounded up around the city of Kiev, and they were marched to pits dug just outside of Kiev in an area called Babi Yar. And they were shot. Can you imagine? Men, women, and children just lined up and shot. It's so monstrous, it's almost unbelievable. I can understand crimes of passion. I don't excuse them. I can understand when someone is angry and they take a life. But this was done in such a cold-blooded way. Like, it didn't matter. And I wonder how those who participated in the killing of 34,000 people in a 48-hour period of time, I wonder how they could have gone home and hugged their wives, held their children. I don't know. They were monsters. They forfeited their humanity. I can forgive. I'm a fairly forgiving person, but I don't know if I could ever have forgiven those who did that. I don't know if I could have ever forgiven them. And so we read, and these people had no one to remember them. In the Reform congregations, we stand. Everyone stands for the Kaddish. In traditional congregations, they don't. But we stand for like those people in Babi Yar who had no one left to say Kaddish for them. We stand and say Kaddish for them because they are our brothers and sisters who won't be forgotten. We Jews will not forget them. May God be mindful of the souls of all of our brothers and sisters, departed members of the house of Israel, who sacrificed their lives for the sanctification of the holy name and honor of Israel. Grant that their heroism and self-sacrificing devotion find response in our hearts and purify and the purity of their souls be reflected in our lives. May their souls be bound up in the bond of eternal life, an everlasting blessing among us, and we say, Amen. A poem by Margaret Atwood. Just a short poem. It's called Song. If you were a song, what song would you be? Would you be the voice that sings? Would you be the music? When I'm singing this song for you, you are not empty air. You are here. One breath and then another. You are here with me. The Amalei Rachamim.
Okay.
Please rise.
El Molei Rachamim, Shokein Bamromim, Hametzei Menocha Nechona, Takat Kanfei Ashchina, Im Kedoshim O Teorim, Ki Zohar Harakia, Mazirim, L'nishmot Yakirenu Shel Halchu Le'olamam, Baal Harakamim, Yastireim Beseter Kenafav, Leolamim, Bitzuror, Hakayim et Nishmatam, Adonai hu nakalatam, V'yanuchu b'shalom, Hamishkavam v'nomar, Amen.
O merciful God, who dwells on high and yet is full of compassion, keep in your divine presence among the holy and pure, whose light shines as the brightness of the firmament, the souls of our dear and beloved who have gone to their eternal home with you. O may their souls be bound up in the bond of life, and may their memories inspire us to serve you and all humanity in truth, kindness, and peace. And we say, Amen. Please remain standing as we turn to page 374 as we return the Torah to the ark. Yahalalu et Shem Adonai, ki nizgav shemo levado. Let us praise the name of Adonai, for God's name alone is exalted.
Hodol eretz v'shamayim vayarem keren liyamo tila lekol chasidav livnei Yisrael am krovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al tazovu. For I have given you good instruction. Do not abandon my Torah. It is a tree of life for those who hold fast to it, and all its supporters are happy. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Return us to you, Adonai, and we will return. Renew our days as of old.
Eitz Chaim hi, lama kazikim ba, v'tom ke'a meushar derakeha darkeinoam v'kol netivoteha shalom shalom hashivenu Adonai Eileka v'nashuva Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
The Aleinu on page 586.
Haleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, l'ateit gedula liotze bereshit, shelo atzanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpakot ha'adama, shelo samchokenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kekol hamonam, va'anaknu korim, u'mishtakavim u'modim, Lifnei Melech, Malkei Hamlakim, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu, V'nemar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech HaKol Haaretz, Bayom Hahu, Yeh Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad.
I want you to think about something. What's the difference between air and breath? Air and breath. You take in a breath, it's just air. It isn't. When you take in the air, it becomes breath. When you let it out, it just becomes air. The human soul in Hebrew is neshama, which comes from the word to breathe. And I've been with people when they've left this earth for the next life, whatever it is, and it's so mysterious to me. It was breath, and then the breath just became air. And yet, I don't know, when I think of my loved ones, when I think of my friends who've passed away, when I think of family members, etc., I take in a breath. And I know maybe they breathe the same breath, sometimes the same air. They made it breath. So I breathe in the air that they breathed in, and I make it breath. And they're part of me. That's what I think about. The Mourner's Kaddish, 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash merabah, bi'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon ufchayei dechol Beit Yisrael, bagalav v'zman kariv v'imromen, Yehi Shmei Rabam Varach Leolam Olamei Maya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei Dekutsha Brechu Leolam In Kol Berchata V'shirata Tushbachata V'nechemata Da'amiran B'yama V'imromen Yehi Shlama Rabam In Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imromen Say shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Amen. On Thursday, I'm going away for a few days, and the cantor's going to be in charge of things around here.
So nothing to worry about.
So, yeah, now you behave. When I'm gone, you behave. And I always say this to him, before I go on vacation. I go, be good, but don't be too good. I'll get back and they'll go, who needs him,
Somehow I do that.
So, don't be too good.
I'll see you Friday night.
By the way, most of any glue will do. It's mostly synthetic now.
Yeah, I'm
Really?
sure. Yeah,
They don't use horses anymore, huh?
And Jell-O, it used to be all gelatin, and it was, getting kosher. You couldn't eat Jell-O. You had to make your own. They had to come up with, Kogel. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, and I think Jell-O now is kosher. I think Jell-O, they changed their formula many, many, many years ago. Okay, so it bounces out of here with a nice,
all right,
with a nice tune.
Simchat Torah.
We all love
Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Kids are at 6.
Oh, the kids are at 6, is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kids are at 6.
Kids are at 6.
Big kids are at 7.
You big kids.